that theme music. Every good hero. You have some.
All right, everyone, this is Tim on the Online Big Blue, bringing you the best in New York Giant sports talk entertainment. It's the day after the firing. It's the day after all of our ills and all of our wills have been cured because Jason Garrett, the Carrot Top, is gone. He will no longer be mucking up the issue for the Giants. There will no longer be any problems in Giant Land. Everything will be perfect. Everything will be fine because Jason Garrett is gone. We're going to overlook everything else, but Jason Garrett is gone. So you know what? We're all good. I'm not going to get into it because of the fact that we got into it in 2 videos yesterday and a live stream. Live stream was awesome. I'm glad that a lot of people stopped by. The Knick game was on, so that was interesting. I want to talk about the Giants quarterback situation. Not so much Daniel Jones, to be honest, because there's rumors and there's scuttlebutt that Dave Gettleman is going to be gone. And if Dave Gettleman's gone, Joe Judge needs to be worried. Daniel Jones needs to be worried. And I've talked about this a bazillion times, and we're not even going to talk about it over and over again. Or maybe I've talked about it.
$1 million.
Or 1 million times. If a new GM comes in, they're going to want to bring in their own head coach. They're going to want to draft their own quarterback. No one's going to want to come in here and be told, listen, you're in salary cap hell. And here's a 4th-year quarterback that we're really not sure what he is yet. And here's a head coach going into year 3. And, well, he's still learning on the job. So can you please take this role and be our general manager? I would look at the situation and say, F no. Goodbye. I'm out of here. But that's just me. I want to talk about the evolution of the Giants quarterback because we had a lot of people talk about my affinity for Malik Willis, and everyone knows that I am a huge Malik Willis fan. I've been a huge Malik Willis fan going back to last year when he had the big season at Liberty, and everyone will talk about the fact that, well, you know, he flamed out in Auburn. He flamed out. He had a transfer when he got stuck behind Bo Nix and what's his name, Joey Gateway. You know, but he left there to get an opportunity to play, Willis, that is. And now he is considered by some probably one of the best right now, best prospects in reference. He was ranked number 1. He had a couple bad games in a row, which kind of dropped his standings in the eyes of the fans, but not in the eyes of the scouts. And people are like, Tim, why do you want this guy so badly? And I got that question numerous times in the chat and DMs, emails. And I'll tell you why. Because we are in 2021. The era of the stand-up quarterback is not dead, but you have to find the right guy. You have to find the right guy that's the pocket passer. You got to find the guy that's the right combination of a skill set of being able to have field vision, pocket awareness, and have the ability to move within the pocket when it breaks down. The problem is the guys on defense every year are getting bigger. They're getting faster. You got guys that are playing linebacker that have wide receiver speed. You have guys on the defensive line that could bench a Buick. It's only going to get worse. So having a quarterback with some mobility is going to be paramount coming in to the next 10 years, I think. And I think this has been kind of going on and on and on, you know, recently in the last 10, 20 years. You know, you've started with like Michael. I'm not going to get back into. I was going to go back into the old bear from the 70s. It was a scrambling quarterback. You're going to start with Michael Vick. You know, he was the forefather of the scrambling quarterback in reference to the modern era. You have Roger the Dodger, you have Fran Tarkenton, you have those guys. But most people are going to know who Michael Vick is. So the offenses, to me, are starting to evolve to the skill set of having a guy that can not only stand in the pocket, but is mobile enough to create his own opportunities. I've talked about it a million times. You need a point guard who can create his own shot, and Daniel Jones can't do that in the pocket. Now, Malik Willis can. And I laugh because there's another YouTuber podcaster, Mr. Authentic, and I laugh because he keeps bringing up any given Sunday, and I keep thinking about this.
Gotta get to work. That's right.
Yes.
Come on. My name is Willie.
You got to love Willie Beeman of the Miami Sharks, who took over for Caparuni when he went down after they lost to McKinnon as well. You know what? Willie was back in the 90s. He was the mobile quarterback. He was the guy. And you know what? I laugh now because every time I talk about Malik Willis, I think of Willie Beeman. it just makes me laugh. But if you want to talk about why Malik Willis, you got to look at you got to look at a bunch of things. The dude is 6'1", 225, and which means in my mind he's college 6'1", 225. So that probably means he's about 6 feet 5'11". I would say probably about 215 because I've said it a million times. You have to go to college to learn how not to measure. But he is a speedster. If you looked at his arms, dude has got huge he's got tree trunks for arms. I mean, it's unbelievable. You got to love his build. Some people say it reminds him of Jalen Hurts, but I think he's bigger than Jalen Hurts. I think he's bigger in regards to that, and I think he's going to hold up more. He played against Louisiana last week, and he did have a off game because Liberty has no talent, but he rushed the ball for 20 times for like 20 yards. So you can see that he's going to take the physical pounding. He's got a big arm, and it's hard to get this kid to the ground. It's like a running back who can throw. He's improved his discipline from this year to last year, and the statistics aren't going to show that. But if you look, he has improved his discipline within the pocket and sticking with his reads. He's still scrambling. And what I love really about Malik Willis is when he's scrambling around and doing the things he does, he's always looking downfield. He's not looking to tuck it and run all the time. He has to now because he's trying to save his life because Liberty has no offensive line. But he's not just looking to run. He's not looking to just tuck it and go. He's grown that way since his junior year. He could probably have more spectacular stats in reference to rushing if he wasn't looking down the field. He's grown that way. He's got all the potential to be a top 10 pick. And I think the combine and the pre-draft process is going to be paramount for him. Because you're going to have, what's his name, Sam Howell, Kenny Pickett's, you got the Riddler and Carson Strong all coming out. But I honestly think out of all those guys that Malik is the one that is going to excel. And I think that because of the fact that, yes, he has holes in his game. He comes from a small school. There's no doubt about that. He's had some bad games in a row. But he's also had bad games in a row against a 22nd ranked team, and I think that's the 12th ranked team. And this Liberty team has less talent than it had last year, and last year it really didn't have any talent. And his big receiver this year, who was last year was catching everything, is dropping everything this year. He's got no running back, he's got no wide receivers, he's got no tight end, they have no defense. But somehow this kid is still exciting to watch, and it's the average fan that are going to look at his stats and say, well, this Malik Willis guy, he's nothing. Look at these games that he had. I mean, they were horrible. No, it's not about just looking at what he's doing in reference to his statistics. You have to look at what he's doing on the field. I have watched almost every Liberty game this year because, interesting enough, a lot of them have been on ESPN. And you can watch this kid and you watch him grow. And like I said, people will point out to the bad games that he's had. And he's going to have bad games because he's on a bad team. He's on a really bad team. And I've said this a million times, though. He rises above the talent around him. Even on a bad team, he's still completing 63% of his passes for 2,221 yards, 23 touchdowns, and 11 interceptions. And most of his interceptions have come in the last 3 games. And you look at the fact that he rushed 174 times for 79.6 yards, 4.6 yards carried, 10 touchdowns. He has that ability and the explosive. He doesn't have to run. And like I said, he's running less. He's actually run more this year out of necessity, but he's running less when and like I said, he's still looking downfield as he's running. Watch the games. You can see the talent when he plays. You can see the ability that he has when he's on the field. So you can't look at, and like I said, it's the average fan that looks at it and goes, well, against Ole Miss, who was 16th ranked, he was 16 for 25, 173, 3 interceptions, but he still ran for 71 yards and a touchdown. And then you take a look when he played Louisiana, he was 14 to 34 for 162, 2 touchdowns though. He was sacked 7 times. The dude has been sacked 16 times in 2 games. And that's because he's moving. He was 20 for 26 in reference to rushing for 1.4 yards, and most of that came on a 23-yard scramble, 23-yard run. You can't look at this. You also want to compare statistics to his wins. When they played, he's thrown for over 300 yards, 4 touchdowns. He had a stretch of games where he threw 7 touchdowns in 2 games. He's had, if you want to count how many times he's had multiple touchdown games over 3 or 3 and over, is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. So it's not all about statistics. And that's the problem that fans get hung up on. Now, like I said, I'm not going to say he's not got holes in his game. He's got holes in his game. He holds on to the ball a little bit too long at times when he should probably dump it off. He tries to throw through way too tight windows at times. Some of his reads, I would say, are interesting at best because of the fact that I think and it's hard to see right now because I think he's trying to make more out of nothing. And I think he's trying a little bit too much, but he's still producing results. And that's what kind of makes me laugh because they still have, on a bad Liberty team, they've still won 7 games so far. I believe they're 7-4 right now. They still won 7 games. We need to get the Giants into the era of the modern quarterback. We need to get the Giants into finding a Willie Beeman. We need to get, and I know some people will say that there's a certain reason why Giants will not draft a certain quarterback. And I think we all know what that reason is. And there may be some validity to that back in the 70s and 80s, but I think the Giants now are in a position where it's not about that. It's about the fact that they need to get out of the mindset of the pocket passer. You had Eli Manning for 16 years. You had Phil Simms before that for 12 years or 11 years. I can't remember the exact amount. Both pocket passers. We need to develop a style and a system that's going to fit into 2021 and beyond. And if you want to have a guy that is going to do that for you, it's going to be Malik Willis. I'm going to say it over and over again. I'm going to scream it to the rooftops.
All aboard the Malik Willis Express.
It's time to jump on the Malik Willis Express, guys. Go check him out. Go watch highlights of him on YouTube. Go subscribe to his Twitter page, Malik Willis, Twitter page. I post stuff from his page all the time. See what this kid's about. Not only the fact that he is they always talk about Daniel Jones being a good kid. This guy's a good kid. From all aspects, he's a good kid. Like Daniel Jones, he loves his mother, kisses his grandmother. So that means she should be a Giant quarterback. But it's time for the Giants to have an evolution and a revolution and turn into a team of the 21st century. And again, this is Tim with Online Big Blue, bringing you the best in New York Giants sports talk and entertainment. And as always, if you could like, maybe subscribe, ring that bell, you know what that means? That'd be awesome.